Let it begin!
Jerks! Shame! Jerks!
The jerk list.
I see all of them. There's too many jerks.
That's what I love about
Jerk!
the jerk list.
A severe penalty for being a jerk.
You're a jerk!
The jerk list.
Jerks! Jerks! What an outrage. Shame!
What a jerk.
You're a jerk!
The jerk
There's
list.
too many jerks.
The jerk list.
Judge rules! Jerk!
All right, here we go. First on the list this week, Scott Mellanby. Just retired, the captain of the Atlanta Thrashers, retired after 21 distinguished seasons in the NHL. I say, good riddance. This jerk came in with the hated Philly Flyers, the air with the detestable sorts like Davey Poulin and Mark Howe and Ronnie Hextall and so on. The only guy who gets a pass out of that group, even though he was unpleasant himself, was Ilka Sinisilo. And the only reason, of course, he gets a pass is because of that marvelous, marvelous name. Ilka Sinisilo. I'd like to have a grudge with this guy, but I can't. Sinisilo. Wonderful, wonderful. Congratulations. But I don't want to get distracted. He helped knock the Pens out of the playoffs back in '89, if you recall, when he wore the Flyers uniform. Then he went to the Florida Panthers. He's the one who started the whole rat business. Remember back in the playoffs in '96 when Lemieux and company should have been playing for the Stanley Cup? But the league allowed the clutch and grab and these marginal players to hang on just so the sport would be more popular in places, expansion towns like Florida. So they allowed clutching and grabbing to help even things up a little bit, so the stars wouldn't be stars, and they could rein 66 Lemieux in by putting their stick into him in the neutral zone. He was a part of that Florida Panthers team, and he killed a rat in the locker room, in the dressing room of the Panthers before a game, then scored 2 goals, and then they called it a rat trick, and it was hilarious. And then all their fans started throwing dumb plastic rats on the ice. Ugh, that was a terrible memory, and he was responsible for that. Let me tell you something, Scott Mellanby. Flyer, Panther, some people even say Hall of Famer. How's this suit you? You're a jerk! All right, Sebastian Telfair. He's one of these guys he went straight to the pros from high school. He's a little quick guard from the New York area. Supposed to be dynamite. Went to the Trailblazers. Things didn't work out there. He got traded to the Celtics. Well, the other day he's been picked up a couple of times now for having a gun on him. Likes to have a piece, He got arrested at the airport. He was carrying, the first time he got busted, he had a gun in a pillowcase. And he didn't know. He grabbed the wrong bag. He didn't know what happened, so on and so forth. So he got busted for that. He gets dealt over to the Celtics. Now, last weekend, he gets busted. He's driving around at 3:53 in the a.m. somewhere in the New York area. He and one of his posse, they're driving around. Now, this is the key detail here. He's driving around with someone in his posse, gets pulled over for whatever, doing whatever they're doing. And he gets busted with this gun in his car. And he says, it's not my gun. I don't know where that thing came from. And then the guy in the posse says, I don't know either. That's not my gun. I've never seen that thing before. Now, you understand, Sebastian Telfair is a multimillionaire, 21 years of age. He's driving around a fancy car and everything. This is his second potential arrest here. The posse member must step up and take the figurative bullet. Do you understand? Oh, that's my gun. You don't want this falling on Sebastian Telfair. Why? Because he's your meal ticket, you dope. You have to take the bullet on this one. Guess what? Your days as a posse member are through. I got a new position for you, though. Jerk! Dope. Remember when Dion Figures, I always like when these guys get into trouble in the wee hours of the a.m. Remember when Dion Figures, the former cornerback for the Steelers, was driving around in South Central L.A.? He got shot in the leg in the middle of the night. Bullet went through his car. And they said, what were you doing driving around at 3 or 4 in the morning in Compton? He said, I was just dropping somebody off. I'm sure it was innocent stuff. You just happened to get hit by the bullet there. Either way, next on the list, The Bachelor. He keeps making an appearance here. And by the way, this is strike number 2 for you, Mr. Bachelor. When you get strike number 3, guess what? You go into the Hall of Shame. That's where Barry the Creep Bonds resides. And by the way, as he can tell you, once you go in all day. You never get out. Mind your P's and Q's, sir. You're an officer and a gentleman is what they're calling you this year on the show, but you act more like a homosexual. You're surrounded by all these women, and yet you try to bed none of them. You just put them through their paces like they're thoroughbreds or something. I don't know. You're a bizarre cat. Very effeminate. You have chances to lay down with these women. These women will have their. You can take them between your sheets and have your way with them. But instead, you make this Nancy milquetoast talk with them. Take a listen. A little sample from last night's The Bachelor.
If you're ready, here's our Bachelor.
Oh, here's a big cut ceremony. Very dramatic. Listen to this ridiculous speech. Does it sound like he wants to have sex with any of these women?
Whew. I gotta say the difficulty of this decision tonight just speaks to the quality of all you women. And I want you all to know that I have the utmost respect for every single one of you.
Great.
I started this quest knowing that I wanted to find a woman who's the best match for me, so I'm trying to rely a lot on my heart tonight.
Why don't you rely on your penis? My God, man, you have a dozen broads aching for you. Rely on your heart. I want you all to know that I have the utmost respect for each and every one of you. What is wrong with you, man? By the way, I put you on the list last week because you cried. You cried because you had to cut one of these women who you met a couple of days before. You're in our military, the U.S. military, sir. You're embarrassing our nation. Officer, gentleman, jerk! All right. As always, each week I like to bring a little sugar to the proceedings, help soften the vinegar. I give out the get-out-of-jerk-free card. Not unlike Monopoly's get-out-of-jail card, you see. This card buys you out of any future jerky behavior. Now, this is a late edition. We just found out that this week's recipient is my unborn baby girl. Why? Because she's going to be born in the year of the golden pig. It's an event that comes along in Chinese folklore once every 600 years, and apparently it's going to ensure that she has a prosperous and wealthy life. So much so that in Korea, they have 10% more babies born this year than they will any other year, because that people know this is you got to cash in on the kid. She's my meal ticket. Talk about meal tickets. Sebastian Telfair should have been that posse member's meal ticket. My little baby girl's my meal ticket. By year's end, I'm going to be rich. I'm making a big bet on the Steelers. Tell you what, there got to be long odds on these Pittsburgh Pirates. I may go make a wager this evening over the telephone. See what those odds are. Probably about 1,000 to 1 for a World Series championship. Anyway, she's not even with us, and she's already paying dividends. Thanks, baby girl. We'll see you soon. All right, back to the proceedings. All right. I see this all the time, and it's not exclusive out here in Los Angeles. Yeah, people like to work out here, so maybe I see it a little bit more. But it happens everywhere I've ever been. You're driving home, sun's going down, and you see people out jogging, home from work, they're out jogging. Couples who run together. Man, I hate seeing this. For fellas, of course. One of two things for the guy who's doing this, who's engaged in this behavior. One, first of all, it indicates you cannot be away from this woman for a moment. If she can talk her way into going on runs with you, you're really doomed, fella. Good luck. You're never going to be alone again. But the best case is you have to lollygag for your lady so she can keep up. Or worse, the worst case is she's lollygagging for you. Either way, lollygagger, you're a jerk. All right. Hey, by the way, I forgot to give kudos. A quick got to go back for a get-out-of-jerk-free card. Michael Dell of the website LCS Hockey has named the sports contraption the official show of his website. He says he has dozens. He didn't say dozens. He said he has about a dozen readers, and he's named it the official thing. But more importantly, he has also answered a riddle that came up on Friday night's show. We were talking about how many more guys in the NHL have right-handed shots versus left-handed shots. He did research. He went through every roster in the NHL. He found 680 forwards and defensemen, And of the 680 guys on the ice, outside of the netminders, only 35.6% shoot right-handed, and 29.4% of the defensemen specifically shoot right-handed. Pens and Philly are the only teams without a single righty defenseman, and that's why everybody's so excited for Chris Letang to get into the Pittsburgh Penguin uniform. And Dallas has 6 right-handed shooting defensemen, but the point is that most of them have right-handed. Why that is, we still haven't solved the mystery, but wow, that's a crazy statistic. But most importantly, Michael Dell, you did research for this show. Let this be a lesson to all you listeners out there. This isn't a place, speaking of lollygag, this isn't a place for you to just sit around and listen. You must participate. I expect you to do so. Take a lesson from Michael Dell. Thanks a lot to you. You get the other get-out-of-jerk-free card this week. All right. Unfortunately now, I have to jump from that right into, well, before we get the Creep of the Week song. It's a very popular song set to the Imperial March that you all recognize from the Star Wars pictures. When Vader makes his appearances on the screen, you hear the Imperial March. I sing the Creep of the Week song to it, but there's apparently a quarter-second delay in my headset here, so I sound like I have no rhythm, and I can't keep the beat with the Imperial March. Take a listen to what I'm talking about from last week's song. Crepe, crepe, crepe of the week, of the week. He or she is the creep of the week. I sound like a damn fool. Quarter-second delay in my headphones. You're a jerk. That's terrible. So now, what choice have I had? We had to pre-record it. All right. With that said, now it's time for the Creep of the Week.
Creep, creep, creep of the week, of the week. He or she is the creep of the week.
That's more like it. That sounds all right. I got rhythm, let me tell you. I guarantee you. All right. Here it is. I've been talking about this. I talked about it all last week, how excited I was to go to Dodger Stadium. My wife was due, yesterday. I thought the baby might come over the weekend. I wasn't going to get to go and see the Dodger game against the Pirates. I was so excited to sit out in the sun, watch the Pirates hopefully defeat the Dodgers, have a few beers, eat a ton of food, and then that would be my last day of freedom before baby arrived. Unfortunately, I went out to the ball yard, and sure, the Pirates obliged. They gave me the victory. Yeah, the food was delicious. They were working the grill. It was dynamite stuff. Only one thing, I got rained on. Rained on in Dodger Stadium. That never happens. Once or twice in a lifetime can somebody get rained on. In my last day of what I thought might be freedom for me, I get rained on. You know who I'm talking to, right? I'm talking to you, God. You rained on me. At Dodger Stadium, it never rains there. That's no accident. I know what happened. You want to rain on me? Here's a little something in return for you. Hey, God, you're the Creep of the Week.
The Jerk List with Dave Dameshek. Until next time, don't be a jerk.